Well, hey guys, how you doing today? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thanks for joining me here today. I want to talk to you just briefly about this Popular Mechanics article. It was from January 17th, 2020 by former Lieutenant Tim McMillan, and it's called The Tale of the Tape. And it's all about the provenance of these videotapes that To the Stars Academy released. Luis Elizondo, the FLIR one, and the gimbal video, and Go Fast, and so forth. And it was, whether it was released properly, who, was it declassified, all this questions about it. And there's a very interesting section in the article which really got me thinking about what we're dealing with here. It said there was a FOIA request for these, Tic Tac videos, the ones that Dave Fravor saw and other pilots from the Nimitz in 2004. And, we've had Kevin Day and Jason Turner and PJ Hughes and Gary Voorhees on the show here. And they talked about seeing these tapes for themselves live and the tapes getting confiscated and all that. So this is really interesting. But this is something that we found out about it, that apparently maybe these tapes were not supposed to be released to the public. There was recently a FOIA request for Nimitz records, and the Navy's Office of Naval Intelligence said that it had discovered certain briefing slides related to the encounter that are classified top secret. So there are briefing slides related to the Nimitz encounters that are classified top secret. So this really has to be something big. You don't classify something top secret if it's flocks of birds or swamp gas or planets or Venus, stars, or satellites. It's classified top secret. Now, the Navy said release of these materials would cause exceptionally grave damage to the national security of the United States. Exceptionally grave damage of releasing these briefing slides related to the Nimitz encounters. Now, I have a feeling we know what these briefing slides are, folks. We have seen these before. I could be wrong, but I think they're talking about the Chris Mellon briefing slides, which, if you remember, were leaked from his own website. Chris Mellon being a part of To the Stars Academy, former, I believe, Deputy Assistant Director of Defense, fairly high-ranking Defense Department official who's been very prominent in calling for UFO disclosure. And it appears that he left he had these briefing slides on his blog, and they were somehow not encrypted, or the links were available and somebody saw them. And you'll remember we've looked at these before. What does slide 9 tell us? Now, if you'll remember, if these are the briefing slides that the Department of Navy's Office of Naval Intelligence is saying would cause exceptionally grave damage to national security, I mean, we're talking something pretty serious here. Remember slide 9 from Chris Mellon's slides, which were leaked from his website either intentionally or by accident, says a scenario exists for an enemy of the United States to manipulate both physical and cognitive environments to penetrate U.S. facilities, influence decision makers, and compromise national security. This could be what they're talking about here. And what this implies is this is slide 9 of briefings that were done for classified Senate intelligence subcommittees about the Nimitz and Roosevelt UAP encounters, Tic Tacs on the West Coast and the so-called flying cubes on the East Coast, which Chris Mellon has talked about. I mean, he said they're only 50 the East Coast incidents were only 50 miles off the coast of Washington, D.C. And so he prepared these briefing slides, which I imagine To the Stars was using, as Tom DeLonge has said, to brief Congress about the seriousness of the UFO issue. So what does slide 9 tell us? Well, it says there's an issue having to do with psychotronic weapons. Psychotronic, I mean, we're talking about remote influencing. Is that what the ETs are up to kind of remote distance psychotronic weapons. Cognitive human interfaces. What's that about? Some sort of interlinked the way extraterrestrial consciousness affects our consciousness. Penetration of solid surfaces. This is what's concerning them in this scenario. Penetration of solid surfaces. Instantaneous sensor disassembly. Whoa. Now, that reminds me of the 1976 Tehran, Iran UFO incident where the pilot has their weapons lock up as they approach this object, and then they fly away and the weapons are working again and they go back, the weapons lock up. So instantaneous sensor disassembly. This all sounds really serious stuff. It gets worse. Alteration and manipulation of biological organisms. I mean, we're not talking about anything really conventional here. What are they talking about there? Anomalies of the space-time construct. You know, this is like the missing time scenario of Bud Hopkins and things that Jacques Vallée has talked about. So we're obviously talking about something really out of the ordinary and unique cognitive human interface experiences. What we're getting here is that these extraterrestrials, if that's who they are, can influence us in a multitude of ways, which apparently the DOD considers a threat to national security. No flocks of birds here. DOD advantages. The DOD has been involved in similar experiments in the past, and DOD has relationships with renowned subject matter experts. And finally, DOD controls several facilities where activities have been detected. What, Skinwalker Ranch, is that what we're talking about? We know the DOD was doing research on Skinwalker Ranch, considered it a possible national security threat. You know, all the weird things that happen out there, and Bigfoot and strange cryptid animals and things that don't fit in our reality, UFOs and other strange things that have happened out there for decades. Still being investigated. There was that recent interview with Thomas Winterton, who's the manager of Skinwalker Ranch right now. Anyway, so this is all very interesting stuff, folks. I mean, I think you can see that this is a really serious issue, that senators are being briefed on the multitude of effects of UFOs and their occupants on us. And it's so serious that the Navy doesn't think we should even see these briefing slides. Grave national security consequences. Wow. It's something to think about. All right. Thanks for watching. Talk to you next time. Take care for now, and bye.